ROH. You thought I was going to forget, right? You thought I wasn't going to do it, right? Of course I was going to do it. There wasn't no way I was going to do ROH. Athena's on ROH. That's my girl. That is the main reason I'm watching. Yeah, Claudio's on ROH and Athena as well as Samoa Joe. Those are the three I really like the most. But Athena is the main reason I do these ROH reviews, at least for the moment. Until at least I only get down like to 10 people and then they don't really care. But this is ROH. Okay, we got 10 matches on ROH. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly because there really wasn't anything heavy into those matches. Yes, they did lead into something, but not a lot. Let's go to the 10-man tag. I want to get this done early because you got the Kingdom and the Varsity Athletes versus Best Friends, Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and pretty much Stu Grayson. This is where it gets interesting because it was not about any of them. This was about Stu Grayson of Dark Order. This is about, I forgot what Vincent is calling his group again. I forgot the name of it. But Vincent and Duke come out right halfway through the match. And it wasn't a bad match. And the person that shined the best was Stu because it was about him. As it was Action Andretti was about to end it, about to do a splash, I believe. You see Vincent coming out, trying to do something to antagonize Stu Grayson. He sees something in Stu. Something the Dark Order is not seeing. And in the end, you would think that the Kingdom and Varsity Athletes should win, but they didn't. It was the Faces who won. Action Andretti got the pin on Daivari, which I'm kind of going like, wouldn't it have been better that the heels won and they blame Stu more and get him more and more dissension between Dark Order with Best Friends and everybody saying that there's something going on which would lead into something more. But they won. I don't know if they're actually going to pull the trigger on this. I'm not sure. You guys can tell me below. But it feels like Stu, they should have lost and they should have messed with Stu. That's just me, guys, tell me below. I'm going to do this right now. Angelico versus Commander. Now, originally, I was going to say something about Commander versus Rey Fenix. But I don't think those two will ever really generally meet each other immediately. Well, I'm not saying they never will meet each other. Sooner or later, they're going to because their styles are very similar. But I'm going to be honest here. Angelico versus Commander. Was it a bad match? No. Was it okay at the end? It was not bad. I kind of wish that Athena had closed the show instead of this. But they did what they did. And it could also have been Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels. I'll get to that next. But I want to say this between Commander and Rey Fenix. I've seen both of them now. And both of them have very similar movesets. But who do I believe is way more polished than the other? If Commander isn't very long in the business, it is obvious the one who's way better is Rey Fenix. He's a lot more fluid what he does. His setup is a lot more better. He knows how to really give as much as he takes. I'm just being honest here. I do believe Commander is still very young in the business. And that is the reason why when I see him, he does a lot of setup and a lot of prep because his moves are very crisp. At one point, he did a twisting backflip onto Angelico, which is very good. But every single time, you can tell there's a bit of a setup needed. And one of the problems I see with luchadors who are not doing this in AAA or in another Mexican or Latino promotion is that they're not always working with anybody who's also luchador. When they're working with some people that have been trained as luchadors, and I do believe Angelico is mostly trained as a luchador, he still shows a lot of American and European wrestling attitude. There's always a setup because they don't always have their timing down correctly. Unless it's Gringo Loco. You could tell that he's been doing this for a very long time. And if he's doing it, it looks properly done. But for everyone else, it looks like there's a bit of hesitation when it comes to Commander. because he's got to set it up. Now, mind you, it was better later in the match where there wasn't that much of a setup. But when you look at him running the ropes, the top turn rope, just like Rey Fenix, it just dawns on me who is better. Now, it's not because I like Rey Fenix more than I like Commander. It's not that. I'm looking purely at who has been in the business longer, who's had more time to be polished, and who doesn't show as much hesitation unless it's something really big. And you've seen Rey Fenix do hesitation on and off, but he does adjustments as he does it. Commander doesn't look like he can do as much adjustment yet. I still think he's very young in the business. That's just me. Commander won. He gets beaten down by Orange Cassidy, comes out afterward, as well as Bandito, who I believe is better than Commander because you can see the difference, not just because he's a high flyer. He can high fly, but you can see that he's way more polished. He just is. He's not just stronger, but he just shows more years in the business and more time to build up on his craft. That's just me, guys, down below. Now, the match that could have closed the show was the TV title. You got Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels. Now, was it a great match? No. It was okay. These two known each other for years. And you can tell they know each other very well because the moves were at least very fluid to a certain extent. The moves were very methodical in many situations. They're not fast-paced wrestlers anymore. Let's make this clear. I love me Samoa Joe, and I still care about Chris. Still about Chris Daniels and Samoa Joe. They're two people I've seen in Impact Wrestling. I've grown to love them. But they are older wrestlers. They can't go as fast as they used to when they were in 2005, and 2007, or 2010 when I started seeing Impact Wrestling. I mean, I do have the DVD set from, as I said, Genesis 2006 or 5. But honestly, Joe was just not like he was back in 2005 or 6. Neither is Christopher Daniels. They're still able to go, but we are talking about nearly 20 years ago. It's getting near to 2. We're in 2023. That was nearly 2020. That'll be 2025, 2026. We're very close to 20 years for both of these guys that were in their late 20s or mid to late 20s, going maybe near their 30s. They're not young, so they just can't go as fast as they used to. But doesn't mean the match was trash. In the end, I'm not surprised Joe won. He's been so dominant. I think he's going to beat the current record for the TV title from the previous incarnation of ROH. I'm going to keep doing it, guys. If you say, why you do that? ROH is still... No. ROH is AEW ROH. It's always going to be a bit different. We're talking about the old era of ROH and the current era, and there is a difference no matter how much people want to say there isn't. There is. Now, we got Claudio Castagnoli, which should have ended the show. I could have gone with Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels, but due to the fact I wasn't familiar with Robbie Eagle, I wasn't familiar with him. He's been working New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's from Australia, and currently he's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, I believe. So you got a Junior Heavyweight Champion or former Junior Heavyweight Champion versus the current ROH Champion. He didn't come out in the title, so maybe he's former, or maybe he's current. He just didn't bring his title. I don't remember. But when you watch the match, it was a good match. There's no way it wasn't. It wasn't a bad match. But since I'm not familiar with him, and this is his debut, and they made it very clear, he does not work in America. This is one of the few times he's worked in the United States. That means sooner or later, he's going to work in the United States. He may even end up on Impact Wrestling eventually. Just like Aussie Open, which I wish they'd signed him. I wish Aussie Open had been signed, but they are current champions. I believe that the openweight tag team champions right now for New Japan. So I kind of wish they had been signed with Impact, but you get what you roll. You know what I mean. In the end, Claudio won, and I wasn't surprised. There was no way he was going to win that title unless he's been there a while, which he isn't. That's just me, guys, down below. I'm just kind of wish I really wish that they bring in more wrestlers from New Japan in Impact Wrestling that stays. Uemura is one of the only few they got. I mean, they do have a new female there, but they only showed her once. And I can't remember her name right now. Hopefully I'll show her more. But that's just me. Next to a Trinity. My girl, if you have not seen my Impact Wrestling review and how I felt about Trin showing up, take a look at it. But we get Vaughn versus, what is the guy's name? Rich Adonis? I kind of wish this match had not happened here. Rich Adonis. What is his name? Adonis? For some reason, I think he should be showing up in AEW. But I understand why he's showing up on ROH, because I just found out that Dark and Dark Elevation are not being shown anymore. What did I tell you? What did I say? Because I didn't feel like it was a reason to keep Dark and Dark Elevation when you have ROH. So all the people that was going to Dark and Dark Elevation will probably be shifted over to ROH until at least Collision shows up. And that will be in July or August, I think. I can't remember when they're going to have AEW Collision. At least you shift everyone over to ROH. Start showing them as much as you can before you put them on Collision. I said it more than a year and a half ago. Nearly a year ago. Nearly a year ago. I said it's time to get rid of Dark and Dark Elevation. There's no need. If you got AEW's version of ROH, stick everybody on there. I just kind of wish they just showed it on YouTube, because more people would see it instead of having to pay at least $8 or $10 for AEW on an app, and then another $10 for Honor Club. Unless it's $5. I can't remember, 5 or 10. You get my point. But he should have been on AEW TV. But I can understand they got to give him a beginning. So this is where he is. And he gets destroyed by Vaughn from the El Facción. Let's move on. The Pure match. It was not for a title. I think this was the best match of the entire show. Next to my girl. And this is second. And that's, excuse me. That is Rocky Romero, allergies, versus Lee Moriarty. This was the second best match of the night. It could easily be the first best match because of how technical it is. But due to the fact of the story that's going on with Athena, that is the reason I'm putting it second. There's no general story here for Lee Moriarty or for Rocky Romero. I'm about to say Romero. I don't remember what he's called. Azar. I believe that's the name. Rocky Azar Romero. I can't remember. I think that's what it's called. But it was a very technical match. I liked it due to the fact of strategy. Look, pretty much Lee Moriarty was forced to use 3 rope breaks because it wasn't the pure rules. And he did do almost 1 punch to the face to a Rocky. In the end, I'm telling you this. I think Rocky did get 1 warning for a punch. I think he did. Not Lee. It was Rocky. I enjoyed the strategy of it. Because you have to do a little bit more than just have a bit of someone outside. Because we did have Big Bill there. The rope break was no longer an issue. So you had to try and make this more important than it normally is. And I can tell you this. I enjoyed the match because it was technical, but I also enjoyed it because Big Bill tried to interject, but he couldn't due to the fact the last rope break was done. And due to the fact of that, that's why Lee Moriarty lost. But I'm kind of hoping they do a little bit more of these pure rules matches with storyline and some tomfoolery, because you can actually do something very creative that way. You can have people try to cheat, but it doesn't work. But you can also use the rules as a cheat on someone to force them into it. That kind of is something very interesting. You can do that. You can just bend it a little bit to try and make it interesting. Now, let's see what's next. Where he did that. No, I did that one. All right, we got we actually got 3 women's matches, which I'm glad to see. But I'm going through the 2 that are left. Let me tell you this: when it came to Willow Nightingale versus Delander, there's something about Delander I find interesting. I don't know what it is. It's not her piercings. It's not that. Because there was another girl there that is Robin Renegade. I believe it. No, it wasn't Robin Renegade. It was the other girl that Athena worked with. That was Risk. She had a tongue piercing. That is scary. If that thing pops out, you swallow that shit. It's going to have to go through your system. But pretty much when you look at Delander, I'm going like, she could be interesting. There's something about her that's interesting. Yes, she's another European wrestler that dyed her hair, kind of like what's going on with Toni Storm. Yes. But there was something about her. I don't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. It could be something about her style. She did have some level of charisma and some level of attitude. Charisma and attitude are different. Because you can have an incredible amount of charisma as a heel or a face, but you have to apply it with a certain attitude. The attitude must go hand in hand with your charisma. If you are hot and you know how to do that, that attitude has to bring out that hotness. If you're a good guy, you got to have a certain attitude to bring it out. Like, you got to be more charismatic, and you have to apply that with that attitude. That's the way I see it. When you see the match, it was interesting that she challenged a Willow who is about the same size, but I didn't expect Willow to lose here because she's been doing a lot on AEW Dark. Well, no longer Dark, but on Rampage and Dynamite. So I don't expect her to lose here. I do not expect her to lose there. So I'm not surprised. I'm not. But there is something there when it comes to Delander. I don't know what it is. Maybe she might have a great gift for gab. Maybe she shows, I saw an inkling of her charisma, or the attitude that connects to that charisma, the way you apply it. There was something there. So that's just me. Now, Sky Blue versus, let me give you shit like this. When I look at Robin or her sister, I get a very scary vibe of twin magic. And that worries me. You don't want to see twin magic on ROH TV. I do feel very cautious that they will push them separately or together, but sooner or later they may do a twin magic as a storyline or as their characters. I'm actually worried about that because I don't like seeing twins actually go down that route all the time, because some cases in the indies there are twins, female twins, that will do that. And I don't think it's necessary to be like the Bellas, even though the Bellas have influenced women. Let's make it clear. Whether you like the Bellas or not, I've always saw the Bellas as eye candy, but at least Nikki really tried very hard not to be eye candy, and so did Brie, but Nikki did better than Brie to a certain extent. Let's make it clear. Nikki is a more charismatic character, where Brie was more of a ground wrestler, but not as technical as her husband. That's the way it worked. For me personally, when I see Renegade, I see something there between her and her sister. And I liked them. I just get worried that they may do twin magic with AEW TV. It just scares me. So in the end, you know who won. Sky Blue had to win because of the storyline that they're beginning to build up with Athena. And let me see if am I forgetting anybody? No. Let me make sure I don't like forgetting anything, guys. I think that's it. Athena. Angelica Risk got her clock fucking cleaned. This is the main reason I watch ROH. Yeah, I love Claudio Castagnoli. He's my boy. I love Samoa Joe. He's doing great as champ. He's got 400 days. he will break the current record. I believe Jay Lethal has, and I can't remember who else. But pretty much, Athena is the reason I'm watching. I knew when she was on AEW TV that she could have taken the TBS title and ran with it. She has that type of charisma. She has the pedigree as a veteran who's won multiple championships in multiple promotions. But they never went there, and Jade Cargill is basically stagnant. I hate it. It's bullshit that she's stuck like that. Either she wants to be like that or they stick her like that. I don't care. It's screwed up. But when you look at Athena and how her attitude is, she literally does every match, a match that I hate, a chance to get a title shot. Like WWE, if you beat the champ, you get a future title shot. And I've seen it so many times. I hate it. I despise it. Once in a while, I can understand it. But here, she's literally been 21-0 before this match. And she has not lost once. She didn't need to cheat. She basically whooped ass every single time. Either with technical ability or brutality. My girl loves kicking some shit in on these women. Let's make it clear. She loves basically fucking their shit up with her elbows. She wants to break their fucking faces. I love it because of the brutality of it. She can wrestle a great match. She can be as technical as anybody else. But we are talking about a Athena, the fallen goddess, who is angry that she fell, and every person around her must be her damn subject because everyone who comes up to her, she kicks the shit in on them. That is how Athena has been booked. And when it comes to her dealing with Sky Blue, she made it very clear that Sky is using her looks to get wherever she is. Look, Athena, honey, you look just as good as she does. And to be honest, seeing most of the women on the roster compared to Sky Blue, no. No, I'm not saying Sky ain't sexy. She's beautiful. But for most of the other women on there, she's like a stick. Not taking anything away from her, I'm just playing. But you get my point. Now you got a dominant champion who has literally destroyed everyone. And she's a sawed-off runt. Like a Jordan Grace. As I've always said, Jordan Grace is a legit powerlifter who can destroy anyone. You look at when Havoc was Havoc. She could destroy anyone because she was about the same size as Awesome Kong. Never 100% believed in Tessa Blanchard because of the way they booked her. I wouldn't believe it. I didn't. It wasn't because of her being Tully Blanchard's daughter. It was because of the way they booked her against the men. I cannot believe it. When she was up against the women, I truly did believe it. But when it came to the men, I did not. When I look at Athena, she's not bigger than the other women. But when you saw this match, if you guys get the chance to see it, and you see Athena against Angelica, she literally put her on her shoulders as a fireman's carry, grabbed her, and chucked her over her shoulders. Not once, but 3 freaking times. That woman's got to be at least near her own weight or slightly under her. That is not easy to do with a 120, 30, or 40-pound woman. And you're smaller than them. She's not taller than her. She was roughly about the same size or a little bit shorter. I'm telling you, Athena's not a weak woman. This woman's strong enough to chuck you around. She literally grabbed her out of the air as she did a crossbody off the top turn rope. Boy, that's my girl. And they refuse to give her the TBS title. She has the years, she has the moniker, and they refuse to do it. But here in ROH, they're booking her like the true goddess she is. Not just a goddess. An angry, fallen goddess who didn't get nothing in WWE. She got fucked over. She went to AEW and Dynamite and Rampage, get fucked over again because she should have won the TBS title. Now she's in ROH and she's taking out on every bitch on the damn roster. She's taking it out on every bitch there is. So that's what you get in this ROH review. My girl destroys all. I hope you enjoyed this. I will be doing my Backlash review. This is literally being uploaded within, 4 hours of Backlash. I hope you like this. Give a comment. Give a like. Peace.